folks, and welcome to April's Royal Family Wrap Up. This is the second one I've done on this channel, and I've got some insights for you already before we've even got to the cards. So, this weekend, this bank holiday weekend, we went to Lincoln Castle. We live in Lincoln, although we're from Yorkshire. And I'm stood outside Lincoln Castle with my mum. And at the time, I didn't fully realise that actually William the Conqueror built Lincoln Castle on top of a Roman castle, if that makes sense. And I started to receive these downloads from about William the Conqueror and our current Prince of Wales, Prince William. Our current Prince William, William the Conqueror, da, da, da. And I've said on this channel that they are their past life. William, our current Prince of Wales, Prince William, had a past life as William the Conqueror. Now, the current monarchy that we have now kind of started off with William the Conqueror. I know there was kings before it, but the situation that we've got now, William the Conqueror, and it goes from there. Um, so with Prince William and hopefully King William, we will be coming full circle. It'll be a full circle for the royal family, for the world, for the United Kingdom, for the collective. It'll be a very significant moment when things progress in that direction, however they're going to progress in that direction. Before I got to Lincoln Castle, I was with a lot of you in the comments that were saying about how William, not these are not my words, by the way, but many people call him work shy Willie, etc. Um, and I have said on this channel that, William doesn't do as much work, and why does that leave us? The stuff with Catherine, I know Catherine's gone through the health stuff, but even so, many people are now saying online that this is concerning. Okay, we've all been there, we've all said our piece. But what I got outside the castle really opened my eyes to what is coming with the new earth and the fact that monarchy, royal family as we know it, is going to be changing drastically. There's going to be subtle changes that we don't even realize it's happening, and there's going to be big drastic changes that are going to be coming in that will take our breath away. They're all playing their part in this, and Prince Harry is also playing his part in this. And part of him breaking away from the mold is all about the unraveling of the current situation. The whole thing heir and spare is outdated and needs to go and will be going forward. I even wonder if that's going to be going with William, if it is just going to be the heir and the children coming after it. There's going to be some real overhauls coming. I was also shown as well the fact that William the Conqueror isn't happy with where his creation's gone to, and he's accountable for his own role in that. That from an ego's perspective, royalty looks great if you're in it. The money, the power, the castles, the palaces. But there is an underbelly to it all, restrictions and having to show up. I mean, I've just currently read Robert Hardiman's book, and the past Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, on her deathbed, was still doing the red boxes. That's wrong. That's wrong. We shouldn't be doing work on our deathbed. Our deathbed should be a sacred space. So, one of you put a comment in, and I get you, and I actually said I kind of agree with you about, is this just another example of the elite being able to have luxury time and leisure time? And I think I said something like, I agree with you, whereas us poor folk can't. I'm going to say now, thinking about that comment, we must be careful of that mindset because everything is energy. And the truth is, we all get to choose what incarnation we are. I don't know if it's the same person, if it's somebody else said, do we always come back as royal family members? No, no, not at all. And we've all been everything. So we can come as royalty, we can come as all of it. By the time you finish your cycle, you will have been everything. You will have experienced everything. And actually, one of the things I'm feeling is when you're just like us, the normal everyday people, a lot of the time that is the rest. Because I wouldn't want to swap places with King Charles. Not a chance. Not a chance. I wouldn't want to swap places with William. Not a chance. Catherine. Not a chance. None of them. Not a chance. There's not a political figure I'd want to swap places with. Not a chance. If we're looking at William's life and Catherine's life and getting triggered, which I know I have, and I know many of you have as well, and getting triggered over the amount of time that they've not worked, the amount of holidays they're having. Rather than projecting that out into the world and projecting that at them, we have to do the inner work. We have to look at our own lives. And again, everything is energy. If we're feeling we're being run ragged, then that is our responsibility to change it. We get to choose in every single moment of our incarnation what we are going to experience. And the more that we evolve, the more that this is going to be happening. So William the Conqueror coming back as Prince William, he's going to be doing things very differently. And if you look at the current situation within monarchy, there is definitely a mother wound in there. There's a father wound in there. If you've done your research on it, you will know that obviously the late Queen, bless her, wasn't a present mother. We know that Diana had issues of being a present mother. We know that Queen Mother had issues, Queen Mary, etc., etc. There's been no nurturing. I'm also working my way through the Six Tudor Queen series, and again, there's a scene in it where Jane Seymour's literally just given birth. I think she gets a couple of days with Edward, and he's gone to a castle of his own, and she's basically told that's what we do. You're there to give birth. You can, if you're lucky, you get to see them as the children, but you're not bringing them up. They're not going to suckle from your breast, which, quite frankly, is abnormal. It's abnormal, and the way that royals have been brought up from the very beginning of this is abnormal. So the fact that we've got a current Prince and Princess of Wales that are going to be putting their kids first, there may be triggers in that, but those triggers are our things to work through. But actually, number one, they're showing us something about how far we have come from ourselves. They're also navigating a way forward for a new earth and a new way of being. Um, and breaking with those toxic cycles because we can't go on as we are now having this entitlement. Think of the Andrews and etc. that we've had to deal with. We just can't go on with this because it's not healthy. The role structure that we've got right now is not healthy. So we're going to be seeing a lot of it. We're going to be seeing a lot of breaking down of everything. This brings me to religion because I know online, I mean, I'm not into religion at all, not a chance. In the past, I have done, I got married in church and I had a period of getting rebaptized and all of that, but I firmly don't believe in religion. I believe in Christ and Christ consciousness, but I refer to him as Yeshua rather than Jesus. To me, Jesus, Yeshua, is a healer, a shaman, a mystic, a seer. Um, we are going to be breaking away from not the old religions, from the current status quo. So, the current status quo in religion. So, you will be seeing William not spending as much time in church. You will be seeing William not doing the royal services as much, as in like the Easter service and the Christmas services, or doing them very differently. This is going to cause a trigger for many people that firmly believe in religion. Also, as well, with the current king, King Charles, he likes the title Defender of Faith. And I've got to say, I actually agree with that. I like the whole prospect of Defender of Faith rather than Defender of the Faith. I'm right, you're wrong. Defender of Faith. Because truthfully, we live in a country with many different perspectives, many different ways of living, being, many different belief systems, religion, etc. There's been a few comments coming in, and I need to nip this in the bud straight away because it's not nice. Um, Running at Charles, saying he's going to becoming Muslim, and it's all about the Muslim religion. Be very mindful what you're watching online because there is a lot of fascist and racist posts, videos that are done very carefully where you don't even realize what you're watching, the toxicity behind it. We live in a multicultural country. The truth is, this country has always been multicultural. A lot of the ways we have, I mean, the days of the week, for God's sake, are Norse and Dane and Viking. Thor's Day, Odin's Day, Freya Day. Come on. Um, Odin's Day, Monday. Um, so a lot of a lot of our surnames are from the Viking times. So coming into the comment section and going down that route is not helpful. And we need to, we're going through an evolution. We are going through an evolution, and some people have got to get over themselves and get over the programming that they're under. Because the country, the British Isles, is way back. You know, what is a Brit? Because if you did a DNA test on me now, you'd see all kinds of different blood strands, if that's what you call it. Um, Gone are the days where this country was just one faith or one main faith. There's going to be many different faiths, and even those are changing. So all faiths are changing, and it's about tolerance. One person, one monarch is going to find it hard to be able to please every faith and every belief system. And I actually think, looking back at Charles's coronation, for although yes, there was pomp and ceremony there wasn't as much as the previous queen had. And there was a dedication to other ways of being. And I think that's a really great step forward. I think Charles is trying, and I think he's making great headway in that. So rather than running at King Charles, I think we need to just lay off of him a bit, a lot, okay? Because it's not helpful. Nettle tea, by the way. Ching ching, cheers. So yes, William is going to change. William is going to rattle cages. Harry's rattling cages. I was also shown this morning that William and Harry are more alike than even they realise, which is why they clash. Them, and I think in that William the Conqueror reading I didn't, Harold Godwinson, I'm sure we got the card Two of Cups, which is when something's been reflected to you. They're more alike than they realise, and they possibly always have been, which is why they trigger each other. And if you think of Henry VIII, Harry coming back to clear something from that, the reign of Henry VIII was, again, you know, the stuff with religion and the oppression of religion and the collapsing of one religion for another and all of that. And the breaking of systems. I mean, Henry VIII broke systems. Harry is also breaking systems. We've got to stop this whole thing of he's a gooder, he's the baddie. Both of these aspects, both of these beings have many different layers to them. They have dark, they have light, they have many shades of grey. There's many complexities with this whole story, and always had, and always has been, right from the moment of their incarnation. And in the incarnation that we're in now, the present incarnation with them, it's not simple. It's not, he's the gooder, he's the badder, he's the badder, he's the gooder. It's not. And part of the New Earth teaching and the New Earth learning and the New Earth way of being will be stepping into that. You may also find as well, if you're on the healing path and you've chosen that incarnation, that you'll be all over the place with how you think things or see things or believe things. And that's actually really healthy, by the way. I am going to do a video about that on my Instagram today, so I won't go too deeply into that. But those are the insights that I've got, and that yes, William is going to change. And that if we're triggered by the holidays and the time off and all of that, and then we've got to make those changes in our life. And one of the things when we're teaching abundance is not to look at rich people through the lens of them and us, because the minute you do that, you separate yourself from abundance. You separate yourself from abundance, um, and that's not helpful or conducive for anything. It just leaves you feeling lack and lack mentality. So everything's collapsing. How we do faith, how we do belief systems, how we do work, love, marriage, family, religious institutions, political institutions, it's all collapsing very quickly now. And William is going to be, as well as many other people, going to be playing his role in that. One of the things that Rebecca English said, well, I think it was Rebecca English, yes, it was, where she says that on tours with William and Catherine, and going forward, I think he said this is going to come into play again when he's king. He is going to be doing his tours around school times and his days off and stuff. And she was actually saying that it's actually helpful to the press pack that go with them, because it means that, if William knocks off, they get to knock off. Finish, not knock off. Um, and again, when I see my clients that are work, 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 we cannot carry on doing this. We've been programmed by a false matrix to think that we can be everything and do everything, and we can't. We can't work all of these hours. We're not meant to be working all of these hours. We are meant to be resting and holidaying and enjoying life. So yeah. And another thing that came to me this morning, sadly, we live in a world where revolution it very rarely has started inside. In a lot of cases, it started with what we've seen in the external. So it could be our neighbour that does something. I don't know what she does, changes how she hangs the washing out, so we do whatever. Or a president, or a king, or a queen, or a princess, or a spiritual teacher. Somebody talks about something or does something, and it ripples across. So what a lot of what William and Catherine are going to be doing will trigger people and will be used as an excuse to bash them. But it will also cause pulses to go across the world for us all to look at our lives. I've spoken on here, haven't I, about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and the fact that she is going through the healing of the divine feminine. And to be quite honest, to actually do that in a royal institution is huge because I'm going through that, and I know many of my clients and watchers are going through that, where literally it's it's a dark night of the soul. You're literally unraveling the generational trauma, the collective trauma, your own trauma, the wounding, all of it, in order to come back to how the divine feminine should be. So there's a lot going on there. I did a parting of the deck before I came on for the monarchy for April 2025, and I got this success from the Soul Coaching deck by Denise Lynn. And this to me, for although there's a very church, in fact, that looks like elements of Lincoln Cathedral, which is next to Lincoln Castle. That's interesting. We've got the dark, old way of believing, religion, and something new forming, but success. Also, as well, one of the things I was downloaded this morning is we've got to stop interfering in people's lives. We've got to stop saying how people should be living. We're doing it an awful lot. We're doing it with those around us that, Aunt Sally should be doing this. My brother should be doing this. My sister should be living like this. Harry and Meghan should be doing this. William and Catherine should be doing this. The king should be. We've got to stop telling people or thinking they should be doing this. And actually, if we just step back and let people live their lives, live and let live. Again, when we're talking about dis-ease within the body, we can prevent that. The amount of dis-ease that it causes when we're interfering or sticking our beaks into other people's business is untrue. And I think that's to be learnt as well with the current royal family, is to live and let live. Take it back to what I said about the Queen. If the Queen Elizabeth II, feels that that's what she wants to do on her deathbed, we've got to let her, because that's her stuff to learn. See what I mean? How we're going to be unraveling and unraveling and unraveling all of the time through this. We can either choose to stick rigid, and if we do, it's going to be horrific, or we can choose to flow with the energies that are coming in. And the fact that also as well, William likes his football, he's breaking away from all the old likes that previous monarchs have been interested in. And also as well, the world is different to when the late Queen came onto the throne. And even just a few years ago when Charles came on to the throne, they have to stay relevant. They have to stay. So religion's just not as relevant as it used to be. People are seeing through it, and if that triggers you, it is what it is. I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm here to trigger. It's just not as relevant as it used to be. People are seeing through it. Um, the generation that hopefully King William will be ruling. You see, I was going to say ruling over, but it got changed to ruling alongside. Is going to be very different. They're not going to be going to church on a Sunday. They're possibly going to be like the stuff that I do and many of you do. Into the crystals, a tarot, believing in energy, believing in higher self type stuff. Um, this is going to be huge. It's going to be a big trigger, I know. But it's interesting. It's interesting. Um, and again, sick of seeing William at the football. Well, that's his passion. Somebody could say they're sick of seeing me in bookshops. I mean, I don't think Waterstones think that. But oh, I'm sick of her buying craft supplies. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm sick of seeing her knitting. I'm sick of it. It's what you again. We're going into energies and ways of being that we've got to light our soul up. We've got to stop this doing what the old guard want us to do. If your passion is sitting with your cat, sit with your cat. If your passion is going to a footy match, go to a footy match, which is why I get a little bit triggered with the spiritual community at the minute, where they're telling people not to listen to music, not to watch films, not to do this, not to eat this. It's about doing what lights you up. Sometimes you can watch a film and it's beautiful and it does so many shifts within your consciousness. Um, Sometimes you can go to a concert, a gig, and it can light you up and bring a shift. There's healing in everything. So, ching ching, William. Let's get pulling some cards on the royal family. That's interesting. As I picked my deck up, what was that? I think it was the bin man, I hope. Otherwise, we're getting burgled. Queen of Cups. I left that card on my desk because I picked my deck up, which again is self-care. It's nourishing. It's doing what lights you up. It's joyful. It's the divine feminine energy. It's flow. I have a feeling that William doesn't really have a faith, um, as in religion, that he believes in something, but it's not what he sees in the church. I'm going to nip it in the bud right now because I know it'll come into the comment section. I don't think for 1 minute William is the Antichrist. I know there's, I know Dolores Cannon has done some work on the fact that that frequency is coming back into the world. I don't for 1 minute think that it's William. I think I actually do wonder whether it's just a frequency rather than a person that comes in. Anyway, I don't think for 1 minute, and I think we've got to be careful of just because somebody doesn't go to church regular, weaponizing the Antichrist because that's just ridiculous. Anyway, UK royal family. UK royal family. You want me to read on that whole thing about where that William and the Antichrist came from? I will do. Let me know in the comments. UK royal family, April 2025. UK royal family. Show me the energies that they've been working through, please. Show me the energies that they've been working through. Four of Swords, healing. Look at that. Cocooning, healing. If you think about our generational healing that we're all going through, think what it must be like for them. And Three of Pentacles again, which is community. Doing things at a slower pace. I'm even feeling that Charles is doing things at a slower pace and allowing a slower pace. Cocooning, nesting, healing. We know that the shifts that we had in March were profound, and I'm still feeling those shifts, and I'm sure many of you are as well. So we're still in the release period. The King of Swords. Finding a way to go forward because people still want the old paradigm. They still want to see the old paradigm. The Lovers, which again is choice and healing and change. The moon, the illusion, deep waters, Knight of Wands, vibrancy, Ten of Swords, releasing, the Empress. See how everything I've just said in my spiel is coming out in the cards? The Empress, creation, healing the mother wounds. And Four of Wands, which is celebration. And the Ace of Wands, the new that wants to come in. I also feel as well that when William becomes king, it'll come in very quickly. And I've always said this on my channels, either on this one or on Claire Thackeray, that when he becomes king, there is going to be a lot of work, a lot of processing. And like with us, sometimes we need periods of downtime because there's something coming where we're going to have to use all our resources to deal with it, to face it. Releasing it, the William the Conqueror energy, releasing the Emperor, the next move. So they're already planning the next move, what's going to come in the next few months, years. Let's do a clarifier for that Emperor card. Yeah. Victory and Nine of Cups. Embrace your joy. And Four of Cups. This is to do with William. Um, Eight of Wands, change coming in the portal. And the Two of Pentacles. Do you know, people get triggered when Charles is referred to the holding king. I think he is a holding king, but I also think he's the king in his own right, if that makes sense. He's doing both. Again, this is what I say about black and white thinking has to stop. It's the many shades of grey in amongst it. Um, the burden of monarchy is toxic. It's heavy. It's not in rhyme with what needs to come in. So they're having to think of new ways to change it, to be inclusive. They're aware that many people still want to hold on to how it's done. So they're treading a very thin line. There's also that concern with William and Catherine because it's a happy medium, isn't it? Rest is great, but if you rest too much, when it's time to get going, you actually can't. And I'm feeling there are concerns around the powers that were within the institution of, again, they're comparing Charles as Prince of Wales that kept going. And they're not sure how to deal with this new energy that's going to. Does that make sense? They're not sure how to deal with this with William. Um, and there's concerns with the old guard in the palace because they can't understand how William is. I know many of you will say it, and I'll say it as well. When these changes come in, how does that affect the taxpayer? Because if they're wanting change, which I am all for, you can't have it both ways. You just can't. You can't receive millions of pounds or thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds while still wanting to, off other people. So that's going to be looked at, how they get money, how they live. Can you remember ages and ages and ages ago when I said that I saw this strange vision where William sells palaces? And I think it came up in the last one, didn't it? I can't remember. Where I said I saw Windsor Castle being rented out to functions and stuff, um and being shown lots of offices within the palace closing down. And being shown a meeting between Catherine and the king helping her to find a way forward. I really genuinely feel you won't see her as a full-time Princess of Wales or full-time Queen of the likes you've seen before. And there's a coming to peace with that within the institution. And they're going to try and find a way that that can work because they've realised that Catherine does bring something to the table. So they don't want to put pressure on her and crack her totally up, if that makes sense. William, it feels, is going to step away from. Like I was shown, what's it called? When dignitaries visit the UK, um, he feels quite rigid, does William? He doesn't feel as though it's in with his flow. So we'll either change it totally and not do it, but I don't know how you can do that as a king. But who knows? New Earth. Or he'll be changing how they are experienced. Um, They lived in Anglesey, didn't they, when they first got married? Because I was shown when William becomes king, a possibility of him just staying in Kensington Palace as king and not even like moving to Clarence House and definitely not Buckingham Palace. But I was also shown Anglesey. Now, I don't know if they've got a home there still. I think the home that they lived in was owned by the Duchy of Cornwall. So, yes, could be. But there's something about Anglesey. Um, I'm being shown that William's future is not fully set in stone, and I was shown the words the power of destiny. Do you know that thing with Princess Anne at the Easter service that everyone's talking about, where she basically walked out and didn't shake hands with the vicar, bishop, whatever? I've just been shown that there's some cognitive impairment there in relation to that injury that she had last year. Um, Now, Anne's always been a very forthright woman, but there is some cognitive impairment um, that has changed her. Um, I personally didn't give a shit that she did that because I actually get a little bit sick of that when they're all queuing up to shake hands. I just find it cringe. Um, and it can get a bit like I just want to get, I just want to get in the car and get gone. But there's something there cognitive with Anne. Um, I'm being shown a meeting between Andrew and the King. Andrew and the King. Um, You also been shown Edward has also had a meeting with the king. Do you know, like when the thing happens with Charles and he transitions? Now, in the ideal world, we'd like to see, in the land of the fairy tales, we'd like to see like it'd be usually be William and Harry that'd step up. I'm seeing that Charles is asking Edward if Edward will become a support to William when he passes, because obviously he's aware that there's issues there with William and Harry, that he's asking him to be someone that he can rely on, which again, a man in his 60s, but I did think that, ooh, interesting. I did think that at the coronation, when he did that pledge to the king, unless Catherine does it when he becomes king, um, interesting, but he's asked Edward if Edward will be his right hand man. Also, as well, I've been showing Edward's son. I'm not sure how that. I did say, didn't I, that William may bring in other younger members of the royal family to do certain things. How all this plays out, I don't know. Time will tell. Oops. Pull a card for the royal family for April. Sanctuary and compassion. Deep change happening, having compassion for them, for all of them. As the Diana channeling said, not just for your favourite son, but all of his sons, both sons, all of it. Um, you can really see right now those of us that can really step into heart-centered consciousness compared to those that can't, that refuse to point blank, that somehow thrive in darkness, separation, having to go into forgiveness, having to go into acceptance and tolerance and love. Many people will preach religion while, and read all the good books, etc., whilst not actually being able to conduct themselves in a state of heart-centered tolerance. And that's it for April. I will film a video looking at May's energies and what's to come with May. Yes. Thanks for watching. Remember, there's a playlist on here called CT's Raw Tarot, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And yeah, going to be interesting to watch. Bye for now.